Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you all are doing great. So, I haven't been live on YouTube in a while. So, hopefully, I still remember how it works. We're going to be making an album today. I'm just counting some stuff out. I think we're going to use 6 card bases, and these are 5x7s. I am into making albums right now because I like making little books. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to be using these. I got these at Hobby Lobby on clearance for $1.50, which is a great deal. And I was like, for quote unquote 13 pieces, this isn't a bad deal. You get 13 pieces for $1.50. So you get a whole sheet of stickers, some alphas. We can take a lead of alphas. Then you get some more stickers. And then you get 10 designs, 10 sheets of 12 by 12 paper, and these cost 59 cents a piece or 69 cents a piece. So if you get two of those, then you've spent your $1.50. But anyway, we'll be working on that later on. So we got these two going on, and what I'm going to do right now is I am going to set to the side, and I'm going to get the tools out because you should have all that stuff ready ahead of time. And I'm going to burnish my creases. Now, I'm still into learning how to make these, so to speak, so I'm just doing the basic ones. But you can add more stuff in there as you like. If you have a lot of little doodads and whatchamacallits, you can definitely add some things into it. So today is Wednesday, and I had initially planned on doing a lot of stuff today, but I only did a little bit of stuff, which is fine. I got one of the most important things I need to get done, which I'm excited about, and just waiting on a phone call actually to complete some more stuff, and then I should be done with that process. So I'm going to go ahead and get our plain sheet of paper, and we're going to start to finish this project. Hopefully my son doesn't come up here and bother us too much. And I'm going to use some white paper. I hear him stumping upstairs already. Let's see. But we're going to go ahead and just work on this, and I'm going to probably use some scrap paper that I have in the past, because you won't see the stuff that you're using, you won't see it. So if you don't want to use your good cardstock or whatever, I would recommend you getting some not good cardstock to use and going from there. All right. I'm actually going to use this paper right here. And we're going to just, start to finish. This is 65 pounds, which is fine. I do recommend probably 110, but 65 is fine. 65 is fine. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut the 1/2 inch off. I'm going to just make this 7 because we're using 5x7 paper, the envelopes. So we're just going to go right here to 7 inches and chop that off. All right. And then we're going to score it. Yay. And I'm going to turn it over so I don't have to see it. So we're going to try to tape this in. So you got the 11 side, and then this is 7. All right. So we're going to just score like normal. Again, this is not my invention. I'm quite sure there are people out here that created these. But I did get the idea of how to do this from Anna Griffin. But it's other people that have created this. I'm quite sure she just capitalized on the die. There's other people that are out here that make these. But this is it just works well for me. And so we're going to just start at the 1 inch. And I'm going to use this one because it's not as hard on the paper. So we're gonna go 1 inch, and we're gonna make this a 3/8 space. And that's what I did with the little baby when I did for the stick yourself the crafting. That I don't know what I did with it. I moved it. Oh, it's on the other side. So I also believe that this one is a 3/8 space in between here. So if you wanted to make it a 1/2 inch one, you could do that as well. It's just easier for me because you don't have to math, and there's no math involved. You just go right before the 1/2 inch, one right before the 1/2 inch, every 1/2 inch, that eighth right before it. And just don't get like overzealous and try to go really, really fast, or you will be rescoring. Don't ask me how I know. Oh, don't ask me how I know. Okay, so I want to get this, should be 14 or 15 lines. And that's how we'll know when to stop. So you don't even have to go like, oh, I want you to go to 7 8/4 of this or that. You don't have to do that. You just go straight over and count out 14 lines. So So 14. All right, I'm just going to turn it over and do this other side. Now, if I were recording this to share with you all, you know what I'd be doing? Pausing the camera to go ahead and finish all this stuff up. But, you know, live means live. Live means live. Alrighty. So I'm just using some scraps. No big deal. Okay. I probably will make another tutorial because someone did say, could you make a tutorial for the album? And I try to comply with those requests. Even if I already have one out, I think that it's good to just make another one. And I scored too rough. I can feel my paper fibers a little bit too torn. It's cracked. You don't really want that. So right now we have this is our first tab. And then you have a valley, and then you want a peak, right? So you want this to be short or down, and then you just want this to be creased. If you've ever made a rosette like this, you can make an album, right? It's like if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. So yeah, so we're just gonna crease right here, fold over, and you see how it looks already starting to form. And you want to be able to fold your peaks over into the valleys. And I just recommend crease. Every time you fold, crease. Every time you fold, crease or burn it down, because you really want these tabs to lay, whichever way you put it, you want them to lay flat. You don't want them to be like all loosey-goosey, willy-nilly. So I want to have 4 of these in the center versus how I normally do is 5. So we're going to do this 2 more times versus 5. And the reason why I didn't cut the paper off is because I think I scored 1 too many. I have 1-inch sides just so I can have wiggle room to work with, because you know sometimes you need that extra space to give yourself some room to, you know, allot for a mistake here or there. You can always too many lines, but once you cut the lines, you can't go back. You have to start all over. So we'd rather have too many versus not enough. So I'm just gonna crease over, and this is the part that I feel like takes the longest to do. All right, because this is the leg work. You know, when you're doing something, it always involves leg work. Like if you stamp an image, stamping it is the part, and then you get to color it, and then you got to fussy cut or die cut it out versus anything else. So we're just going to fold this over just like that. And I'm just going to get us a good burnish. Now, if you have another tool, any tool will work. If you don't even have one of these, you know, you can use whatever you have. Your thumb will work, or something that's going to make something lay flat versus not flat. So you see right here, we have our peak, and right here, which is fine, we want this tab to come up. Okay. You want that tab to come up. So I'm just going to burnish this down. And this is the piece that we would want to be down as our valley. And this would be our mountain, our peak. All right, so I'm going to cut this off at 1 inch versus 1, this little line that we have. And now it doesn't matter if you cut a good line, you know, a lot off or a little bit off, but I prefer to just give it more space versus not enough space. And so I've been working on a lot of albums lately because I have so many projects and swaps that I need to get out and mail off to people. So I've looked at all the things that I need to mail out to people. I'm like, I'm about to keep the United States Post Office employed for at least 2 months. At least 2 months. All right, so we got this up, and this is not a big deal at all. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is the most important part. Do you have your valleys and your peaks? And if the answer is yes, then you'll know that this is another peak. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would be 6. All right. Now, if you are not confident or you feel like you may mess something up, you can always come over here to the back side, and we're going to just use a colored pencil, pen, or whatever to mark where we want our things to be taped. Usually I tell you just to put a T, right? Because you want to tape it. But today we're just going to, well, you still can, but because I'm using a scrap, right? No one will ever know it's a scrap, I promise. T, 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 T. And the T stands for totally awesome. Tape. Stands for tape. So we're going to be using this tape. I'm not sure where I got this tape from. It's pretty much a lot on here. So I'm going to say probably Tuesday morning or either Joann Fabric. And again, if you've been here a while, you know that hi, thank you. Yes. Hi, N Wheels. You know, I don't trust myself with tape that well. So I prefer to use a skinnier tape, a thinner tape versus a wider tape because it just makes more sense in my we are going to be making a sea themed album, and it's not going to look like this, but this is how the album will look once we finish. So we got that going on, and right here on our tees we're just going to put tape on there. Again, this is the longest part because once you get to decorating, it's going to be so much fun. You can decorate it however you want. You give it the characteristics that you want it to have or not have. I do recommend that you start your base off, your spine off with a thicker paper versus a thinner paper. So if you're like, oh, all I have is copy paper, then don't use the copy paper. You could probably use a cereal box or macaroni box, whatever kind of small, thin cardboard or chipboard that you have in your home. If you don't have heavier paper, but if you're a paper crafter, you probably got some heavy duty paper in your collection. All right, so then I'm just going to cut these down because those drive me crazy. Today we walked out the house. I had to go to the post office to mail off some documents, and literally within 5 minutes of driving, it started to rain. My son was like, oh man. I was like, no, we're getting this done. All right, so now that we got our tape on this side, what I want to do is burnish this tape down as best as possible. Usually I say finesse works, but with the tape you want to use some brute force, just because it's going to keep the tape down a little bit longer, even if you're nice to the tape. All right, so once you get the tape down, I definitely, if I were making a video, I would come back, but you know, live doesn't allow you those options. And so we're just going to crease over and move on to the next one. And it's hard to see with all these daggone lines everywhere, but I am being chinchy with my good paper. I usually use craft paper because I like crafting. It's heavy duty and I have an abundance of it at the desk. But no, she decided to use this. If I didn't use it, it was just going to go in the trash. And I am definitely not about throwing this in the trash when I could find a good use for it. So every time I lift the tape, I'm just going to re-burnish down my creases. And we turn it over, our creases should still be good to go. And they are, which is great. That means that we put the T's in the right spot, right? And now we're almost done with the back side. All right. Now, as I stated a few days ago, wet hair, apply shampoo, rinse, repeat. You're going to do the same thing on this side as well. The same thing. And then the fun will happen. And on this one, you don't have to worry about putting a T on there because you already know that this is your valley. This is where, your peak, and this is where you want the tape to go. Now, I do recommend putting the tape at the top versus the bottom. You want to put the tape close to the top. If you are a very good tape applicator, your whole strip should be on here and not in that little fold, because if you put the tape on the fold, yep, you guessed it, it won't fold because you got tape on the thing. So you want to put it up some. I do not recommend hot glue for this. I do not recommend hot glue for this type of project. I recommend some good old-fashioned tape. I do think that if you have some red liner tape, it would be best. Or if you have one of those fancier tapes from the other companies, use that, because that will work out a lot better than just plain old tearing tape, which is what I'm using. But if you feel like all you have is your tearing tape because you don't want to go out and buy tape, or you have the dotted tape, I don't recommend those either, because those things come apart easily, super easy. So I do recommend that you use some tearing tape, something a little bit more sturdy, as in tape wise, versus just any old thing. And then you can reinforce it with some glue. So right here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some water tape because we have this whole inch to use. And again, let's chop this tape off, because that is what I like, to chop it off and have it all nice and even. Okay. And then you're just going to take your tape. If you have wide enough tape, I recommend getting it out and using it now. If you have thin tape, like I have smaller size tape, then use that. If you feel like you need to put more tape on there, then put more tape. Just going to do the back first, because that works better for my mind. Just going to burn them just like that. And let's see. Normally I tell stories when I'm crafting, but this part is taking up some concentration. So once I get my concentration, once I get comfortable, we will be discussing an episode that I saw at the post office today. All right, so that's too wide, and that's okay. Apparently, I don't know what an inch is, so we're just going to use some tape. So I'm at the post office, as people tend to do. In Texas, we lost our mind a long time ago when it comes to mask, not mask, vaccinated, not vaccinated, all that good stuff. So I have to mail out some important documents. I won't get into the documents right now because everything hasn't been completed yet. But I had to mail out some important documents because it's been in my, as people say, in my crawl. Like I think that's what's been keeping me up, besides just not being able to sleep well. But I have been just, I guess you could say, beside myself, because I'm like, I need to get this paperwork submitted, completed, etc., etc., etc. And so I'm going to put 2 on here because I just feel like I need to put a double. I don't know why I didn't bring my other tape. Like, who does that? You sit down to make a live stream and you don't have all your supplies. Like this chick does that all the time, even when I'm making regular videos. But anyway, nonetheless, I digress. Um, so, I run some errands, I take some stuff to be donated, and we go to the post office. I have to back a card. And so I'm sitting in the car, I back the card, and I get my son out. We go in the post office. And Wednesday is probably the best day to go, first thing in the morning. But we went around noonish time. I'm just going to reburnish this down a little bit. And no one was in there. It was like 5 or 6 people in line. So it was 2 at the register and then like 3 or 4 people. But we stood in line less than 5 minutes. So this lady comes in and she don't have a mask on. And when I tell you that we lost our mind, it's because we haven't been complying with any of the regulations in the first place, right? Like, shut down, we still open, don't do this, we're doing complete opposite. All right, so now we got our tape, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is the part that Miss Griffin, Anna Griffin, shows you in her tutorial. I have 6 envelope cards, and we're going to use these cards to go on here. So we're going to turn this on the back. Again, don't worry about the back because we're going to cover this spine up. Because look at this spine. It's just spiny. It's wiggly. All right, so we're going to turn it over and we're going to take a sheet of paper and our Valley. Okay. I don't know what's going on with all these notifications. It's always like that, right? You go to jump in the shower, your delivery shows up. Anyway, so we go in there and the lady's like, she's like, I want to speak to your supervisor, right? And I was like, am I getting ready to experience one of these video moments that I see all these people recording on TV, on YouTube and stuff like that? Now, mind you, when I'm out in public, I mind my own business. I don't egg people on, because I had told y'all before that my driving, my inner crazy for road rage has started to show its head, and I don't want that because people kill people here. This man got shot a few weeks back over road rage. So I just put this little tick mark here because I'm going to cut this down. So anyway, we go in, I'm like, I need to mail this off. And the guy that's helping me, he's always nice, calm, or whatever. Today, they must have got into it because he was like, you need to put on a mask. You need to put on a mask. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm thinking, oh no, is this about to happen? And in certain places, people shoot stuff up. They don't care who in there. And I my baby, I have to hurt that woman. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a good look for her. But anyway, she was like, I need to speak to your manager because she had, I guess had experienced some poor consumption. So we're just going to use some glue. All the adhesives are coming out today, right? And, in 2 months, I probably won't even be making albums. But right now, I have made roughly like 4 or 5 of them. Like, I'm in the album making mood. If you have a lot of paper, this is one way to use it. It gets rid of your paper fairly quickly. So you can definitely do that. But also, you can make so many cute little things. I think I'm going to move on back to some junk journaling. We'll see. I haven't stamped in a long time. Yep, that just happened. So anyway, I'm going to put that down at the bottom. And just slide it down some. Now, if you use art glitter glue, you don't have that much wiggle room. So be quick. I'm just going to use my little spatula. Go one way up and one way down. And I just wanted to adhere as best as possible to everything. So I didn't stay to listen to the conversation, but she went out and came back with a mask on. I tell you that. She was like, I need to speak to your manager. And the supervisor, not manager, the supervisor was actually helping me because I needed some long boxes, some large, long boxes. And she was like, I'll help you. I was like, I need to get out of here because I ain't trying to have this woman come back and literally blow up the spot. But she came back and they talked, I guess. She probably just didn't like the customer service she got. And, I feel like people are rightfully okay to voice their discontentment with customer service. I just feel like it's a certain way you should do it. And I think that people that are, people that get caught on video, cursing people out, calling them all kinds of names, and that goes across the whole ethnic board. It doesn't have to be just one set of people. It's just not right. It's more than one way to handle bad situations, especially if, you can write what they say, especially in the supervisor world. The pen is mightier than the sword. You can end someone's career with a bad evaluation. Not saying I ever did that. So I have never, never ended someone's career like that when I was the supervisor. But I did help someone in their own career like that. I remember reading a write-up on someone, and it was the worst write-up I had ever read, but it was so magical. It was just like amazing how they kind of said that this person was not a good worker. Not a good worker. They didn't do good stuff. So I'm just coming back and reburnishing this down. And now we're about to make things happen. We're going to go ahead and glue these down. I'm going to glue this side first because I just like that. It works for me. So yeah, and then we went to GameStop and I wanted to buy a video game. As you all know that I've always had a gaming mentality. This channel was going to be a gaming channel a long time ago when I first started YouTube. But somewhere along the line, so I'm just going to put this edge as close as possible to that edge so we can create our book cover. And I'm going to just put it to the very edge of here, and I'm going to apply some pressure. GameStop to look for Paw Patrol Mighty Pups. That game is $40, and my son is not good enough. He's worth more than $40, but the boy don't behave. So I can't continuously tell him, don't be bad. Listen to mommy and daddy, and then go out and reward him with a $40 game for being bad. So he's gonna have to work for it. I even tried to get it on Prime Day. They were like, it's still $40. But sometimes Target has video games. They'll sneak video games on sale. So I have to keep an eye out for Target. All right, so right here, see our crease. And now we're going to stand this up and we're going to repeat that same step that we did over there on the first side. And the reason why we're going to stand it up is because if you don't stand it up, it won't fold properly. It'll fold a little bit warped, crooked, lopsided, whatever word you use for not folding straight is the word I'm looking for right there. And then you're just going to apply some pressure. And then this is just, a repetitive step that is mandatory. And here we go. I think this is the back side, but we'll see, because this line is straight in the bottom. The top isn't. So we'll just put it on that side and move on. Applying some pressure and burnish. Now this is the part that I really want to have you understand it. It's repetitive. This is a repetitive step. So I feel like sometimes in crafting, some of the stuff that we do is repetitive and it can be boring, and it can also be a turnoff from actually the desired design that you're looking for, because it is so repetitive and annoying to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's why I only put 4 in here. If you put 7, 8 lines in here, you know how many times you're gonna have to do that. But if you want a thick, juicy book, then that's what it's going to take. So I'm just gonna apply some pressure, stand up, push down, and keep going. So the reason why I decided to go live today is because I did not post a Knot Creator video on Monday. I'm not sure if you all had noticed it, but I was posting them on Monday, Wednesday, and Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. Because I didn't want to burn myself out from posting so many videos and having to, do other things in life. So I was late on the project, the 28th. I was supposed to do the project on the 27th, but I was under the impression that it was due on the 28th, but it wasn't. So I made a video, I actually did a tutorial or a process video on how to make the album, but I didn't release the video. So it's still there, but I'm just going to delete it because we have this video. And then today is the last day of Knot Creator, and it will not be coming back in July. So today is the last. Well, it would have been the last day if I had posted a video, but because I posted the random act of kindness process video, I decided not to release another video. Although I have some videos, I'm not sure if I released all of them, but I had made these. Yeah, I had made these and these bracelets, and they're just, what's on trend right now, which I'm rarely on trend with anything, but these word bracelets. And so I don't think I released the video for that. I just left it as is. It's like still there, but I'm not going to release it. No particular reason, because I'll double record or double do something multiple times, but I just decided I didn't want to release the video for whatever reason. I'm choosing not to. So until whenever. But today would have been the official last day of Knot Creator, and I don't have anything planned for July besides my regular collabs and just random videos. So I don't think that I'm going to be creating any new series until October, when the Awesome Alone collaboration is over. I've had a few in my head for a while, but I didn't want to do them because some of them are similar to some of the collaborations I'm already in, so it just doesn't make any sense to do that. And I was thinking, I was like, do people still want to watch me do series, like videos or just random videos? And I was just like, I told myself, I was like, whatever you want to do, whatever you do, if people watch it, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. So here's our album base. I think it came out really good so far. Doing pretty good on time, especially. All right, so you see how this sticks out, because these cards are deceiving. They're supposed to be 5x7 cards, but they are a little taller than 5x7. So now I'm just going to bend the spine down and burnish this down some and go from there. All right, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this whole thing. I have some papers. We need 12 sheets of paper. And what we can do is just take 3 sheets of solid paper and make them the whole cover and all the inside pages. But we're not going to do that. We're going to actually use, I like this octopus page right here, because that's my thing. Sea creatures and such. And at the very beginning of the video, I talked about how great a deal this was, $1.50 for all these elements, and it normally costs, well, at first they were coming out, it was $10. I guess nobody was buying it, so dropped the price down to $5, and now it's half off. So if you go to Hobby Lobby and you want to get this paper and you see it for $5.99, $9.99, just ask And ask the lady that works or the man that works in the paper section. Don't go to the register. The lady at the register had an attitude with me yesterday, like I was still in the paper. I was like, she told me to tell you, and she was like, I'm gonna have to call. I was like, call her. I don't care. You telling me you're gonna call her hurt my feelings? Not at all. Not, you know, not in the least. I want you to verify it so I can not be held up in here. I want you to verify it. You know, sometimes I look at things a little bit different than I probably would have when I was younger. So I'm using this Mermaid Coast from Michaels. And I don't want to use the mermaid stuff. I do want to just pull out a color though. A few colors that's not mermaidy. I think we're going to use this paper right here. Yeah. The problem with these papers, all directional. None of them are like free-forming. And that's going to be harder to cut my little cheap pattern that I normally do. Well, it won't be too hard because if I need to do a landscape card, I have a landscape piece cut. I can use these packets as well. So we got those. And this is not going to be a long drawn out process because, you know, once you put your matte pieces down, you're pretty good to go. But I do want to use these hibiscus. I'm going to use probably all of those. Yep. Well, one sheet of them. Excuse the crinkling. All right. This is so pretty. And I like this all like together, except for these alphas. You know, I do not care for alphas at all. I think this is going to be our front piece. And let's see. Yeah, actually, I think that's good. I think this should equal up to 12 pieces. We're about to find out. You know, I was thinking about remaking something, but I decided that I wanted to make an album. Okay. So this trick I'm about to display, I got from scrapbook.com on their blog, how you can get 4 5x7 pages out of one 12x12 sheet. Because, you know, I am the queen of paper scraps. So, not good. So you're going to come all the way down to 7. Turn. Go back to the 5. Go to 7. Turn. Go to 7. Turn. Go back to 5. Cut. All right, so we got our pieces done. So we got 1 and 2. And like I said, if I want to make some landscape cards, I can use these like that. So we got 2 already, and we're just going to repeat. Now I should have did what I should have done, right? I should have cut this paper up ahead of time. But sometimes I think that if I go ahead of time and do it ahead of time, I won't use it. That seems to be my MO. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to use that, and then I'll get to doing a project, and then you know what? I don't use it. I just kind of go completely off the path of whatever I had chose before. So even though I don't want to use 4 sheets of these starfish, I am going to go ahead and cut the paper all the way down because, you know, queen of scraps, right? Queen of scraps. I had thought about making a scrap series, but I was like, I really don't want to do that either because I feel like sometimes for me it goes from being fun to a chore or a job, and I don't want my paper, I don't want my crafting to be work. I want it to be fun. It's already work cleaning the crap up, so I don't want it to be work to get the stuff and make it. All right, so I think we want the planks to go this way. Yeah. So this is how our planks are going to go. We're going to use this pattern for front and back. Now this paper is super thin, so be careful if your paper trimmer needs to be cleaned out, clean your track out or whatever, because this paper is really, really thin. I would say more on the flimsy side than thin, and you don't want it to eat up the paper. I definitely wouldn't um, like that. And this wood grain weathered shore paper can be used in other projects. I could definitely see this being used in like a Christmas in July thing, you're on the beach with Santa Claus hat maybe. So you can definitely use that like that, use it to your discretion, of course. But you can definitely use that. And I make a lot of sea projects. I make a lot of sea themed things, so I have plenty of uses. And now we're going to use these little palms. We'll use those. I don't know. We'll see. I think we may use all 4, but we'll see. This tip definitely saves from wasting paper. Because I'd get 2 5x7s out and then it'd just be a random odd shaped piece of paper. This thing cuts so smooth. I had sent my friend a message saying that I want to start drinking coffee, but not for the real reason that people drink coffee. I just wanted, because I want to try some of the crazy flavors. And when I mean crazy, I mean like good tasting flavors of creamer. So you start off with black coffee. I want mine to be like browny white color when I finish putting all the stuff in, like the sugar and stuff. In my former life, we used to take coffee and put soda in it. And then creamer. Talk about a buzz. All right, so we're going to do this one. So she's writing me back talking about use some decaf. I want to get hype. There's decaf up in here. I want to be hype, hype, hype. All right, so I am going to go ahead and cut this one down too, although I feel like I probably should not. I'm just going to make some cards later on using these landscape versus portrait. And unfortunately, these are no longer at Hobby Lobby, so if I wanted to go and get more paper pads, I couldn't because they clearanced them out. Although Hobby Lobby has a way of sneaking some things back in that they may have clearanced out before, so it's all on what you make it and what you're looking for. Are you excited that summer's here? I know it's been super hot and super rainy, so I'm not sure how excited I have been for that or not, because the way this heat is set up, it'll make your light bill go up, 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 and up. I do not enjoy it at all. But, some people love hot weather. I'm not sure what's wrong with those people, because if it's past 100 degrees and you want to be outside, I don't know why. Like, I don't get that. Why would you want to be outside in 100-degree weather? Unless you're forced to be outside in 100-degree weather. And, ours is always, when it's hot, like once it starts to get really, really, really hot, it's always like, it hovers at 95 to 100. I got in the car the other day and it said 105. And I was like, let's go back in the house. Because the only other place I've ever experienced, well, the only other American place I've ever experienced heat like this is Las Vegas when I went. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. It was so stinking hot. Like I couldn't even breathe. I was like, who does this to people? And people like to come here for why? Like, I didn't understand the beauty of being burnt alive from the daggone heat. So, we did all our like walking around once the sun kind of went down. The allure, I swear. All right, so we got 2, 3, 4, Now we can use these palms the other way if we really really wanted to, but I don't want to use those like that. I want to use these standing up. So, yep. I don't know about how people, you know, some people do really enjoy the heat though. I do not, I cannot say that I'm one of those people. Okay, so we got 1, 2. Okay. So now, yes? Yes, now go please. No, go please. Go. All right, so this is our front cover. It's thinner than the rest, and that's fine. So we got these two. And then I want to put, I usually try to create a pattern. And so we're going to do, then we're going to do like that. Yeah, that's a good pattern. And so I'm just going to repeat that, even though sometimes I don't repeat it and sometimes I do. We're just going to keep it easy for my brain to work out how it looks. So we got that. And now let's go ahead and glue these pages down. Now, if you have some Aleene's tacky glue, I recommend you pull it out right now. If not, you can use your art glitter glue or whatever glue that you have, but I do not recommend, again, hot glue for this project. I sound so anti-hot glue, but I'm not. I just think that it's easier to use wet glue. All right. So, I'm go ahead. Oh, no. We need to cover this spine up. So let's see what pieces of paper we're going to use. We're going to use a piece of paper from the cutouts that we did not use. And I really like these octopus, but I don't want to waste this paper, right? So, because you know, I could use those pretty patterns on something else. I am going to just pull out a regular sheet of paper, I think, and make that the spine. Now normally I have a whole bunch of sheets of paper, regular sheets of paper floating around waiting to be used. Not today. All right, so we're gonna use this one. And let me just get my ruler out, make sure this is not too long. I swear I want to start doing centimeters for some reason. All right, so I'm going to cut about 5 inches. I'm going to cut this down to 7. All right, now right here is the part that I recommend you do it the way you want to do it. I tend to get my scoreboard back out because I want it to be nice and neat, especially since I don't plan on keeping it. Like if you have something for yourself, you probably have something that's a little bit less nice and neat. She didn't cut the paper down. Now she want to see if it matches. What's going on with that lady? All right, I think this will look fine because we only need to have a spine showing, and we're gonna keep it. All right, so now if you want to measure your spine out, I should do that first to see. So your spine is roughly almost 2.5 inches, right? Almost. So what I normally do is I just take my paper and I put it around just to make sure I got enough, and then I'll score it. And it doesn't matter how well you score the front and back of your paper because no one's going to see it. You're going to have it covered up anyway. So you can just score it at 1. And then if you're a math whiz, 1 plus 2.5 will be 3.5. So you can score again. But right here is where I say don't do that. I say put it on the paper, put it on the spine again, and verify, because sometimes the paper to curl, like it will curl like this, and then you don't need that much. But I want mine to be solid, very solid. So I like to just come back and check it out again. So I'll put that up there, just like that. You can do it however you like. It's your project. That makes it easier. So we got this one side, and then you get this side, and then again it wants to score because we already have it on a 0 mark, so you're going to score it. I would score it at 2. You can score it at 2.5 or 2 5/8, a little bit over. And then if you need to adjust, you can adjust. But once you score it, like if you score it halfway through, then that's a wrap. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So you don't want to do that. All right. Now we have one side loosely scored. This is the loose side, and this is the side that's like heavy duty. And unfortunately, I don't know what I was thinking. I got it on the back. So you see how it is? It fits great just like that. So I always give myself a little bit of wiggle room. I've learned from, previous mistakes not to trust that spine measurement unless you have a die or something that will do that for you. If you're doing it by hand like we are today, then you want to verify. Try to verify as best as possible. Aileen running out on me. She like, are we done yet? It's getting low. And I'm always excited when some of my supplies run out, because that means I'm actually using them and it gives me reason to go buy more, right? So now we're just gonna glue this down. Oh my goodness. And rub this in. Okay. And I'm gonna burnish this down some, but I feel like I've moved it. I know that I moved it. I shouldn't say I feel like it. So I don't want it to hear too well. I want to make sure that I got it good on this thing, on the crease, and we did. All right. So now we're going to come back over and we're going to put more glue on this side. Don't put any on your spine. You want your spine to be a little bit loose if you've ever read a book, hardcover book. And it has a couple of layers to it, and sometimes the spine isn't covered. I'm not into book binding techniques, but I would go with that. All right, so here we go. Now you see how it's a little bit over because we did cut it we scored at that eighth mark, and that's fine. I'm going to just adjust it as needed right now and be okay with it. I'm not going to fret over it at all. Not at all. So I'm just going to burnish this down with my finger. Using a little bit of brute strength. A lot of crafters, I would say, sometimes, I can't say all the time, but sometimes they'll use fabric for their spine, because I feel like fabric gives a little bit easier than paper does. Paper is not as forgiving as fabric is when you're applying it to the spine, because it's real flimsy. It goes with the motion until you put stuff on it. So there we go. There we are. And let's go ahead and glue this down, because my son has come up here once. He'll probably come up here a few more times. He's trying to get my videos blocked by daggone YouTube having children in them, which is not the case. Every time I watch a craft video, it's always a disclaimer: this video is not for children. You still see little kids up in the daggone comments sometimes. So right here, we're going to put our piece right here. And I'm going to adjust. Now this is roughly approximate 7. So it should fit on this card base perfect. But I find that some of my card bases are a little bit bigger than 5 by 7, and that's okay. We always have scissors we can cut All right, so I'm just burnishing this down. And I'm gonna do the back. If you are in the States, this Aleene's glue can be found at the Dollar Tree. Not this particular one, but a smaller size. And or you can go to Hobby Lobby, Joann, or Michael's. And I know Michael sells it for $2.99 or $1.99, something. Very good, very economical, considering some of Michael's prices for other things. So I think that's a really good deal. I'm not sure if the company for Aleene's, the people that make it are like keeping it affordable for crafters, but it's a very good glue. I know a lot of us have moved on from the quote unquote cheap glues, and we tend to buy more expensive glues. Just because it's more expensive doesn't mean it's better. It should be, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you buy crap and it's just that crap. So just got to keep that in mind. Because I like Aleene. You see, I use it interchangeably, and especially because I know my own weaknesses when I apply glue. I know that I can be a little bit. I'm going to change this pattern a little bit. I want to put this right here first. I don't know why. Now, this is the thing I want to tell you. Please, please, please push all your inserts as far to the edge as possible. Okay, you do not want to put this insert on a crease because it won't fold. It'll be crooked. So make sure you don't do that. And you have a little bit of wiggle room. And this is when, like right here, you see I didn't put it all the way down, which is great. You don't want that. Now, if you make albums and if you mat a few pieces on there, to make it a little bit more sturdier or heavier, then that's totally up to you how you put it down. But I don't recommend on the spine, on the creases, on the folds, because it won't work. It will not fold for you. It will be crooked, very crooked. Today I did not intend on live streaming. Today when I woke up, I had, when you wake up in the morning or at night or whenever you can't sleep and you get up, sometimes I'm just making sure that this is all the way to the very edge, and I'm going to push these up and over, up and over. Now back down and over. When you wake up for necessity. You have to go potty, you're hungry, work, the alarm, or you just can't sleep. And I've been telling you all for a while, my sleeping cycle has just been horrible. Like I can't sleep. And this morning I woke up and I was okay, today is the day. You're gonna get some of these things on your mental to-do list off of your to-do list. So I started working on a thing, and I like silence when I'm working. Like when I'm doing paperwork or whatever, I can't focus. Because say if you and I are having a conversation and you're like, oh yeah, the greenhouse is beautiful, and I'm going to write the greenhouse is beautiful for whatever reason. I know I'm not the only one that does that, but I will write the greenhouse is beautiful instead of writing whatever I'm supposed to be writing. So today I was filling out the paperwork and I was writing my name in a spot of other people's name. I'm like, okay, come on. So, and when you're submitting paperwork, you don't want to submit scrabbles. You want to submit decent stuff. Yeah. All right. I wanted to make sure these seahorse were upright and not upside down, because we would just had to have a fancy way of covering up these octopus. But this is so cool. I'm not sure if you are into like sea things, but if you ever get a chance, go to Google, of course, and type in vintage sea creatures and see what shows up. And you can just put like vintage sea creatures for prints, like pictures to print out or whatever, and you'll be amazed at how all the weird cool but weird looking animals they have under, classified as vintage sea creatures. And then if you really want to get quirky, you can always look at Graphic 45. They have a lot of cool vintagey sea things. And I was supposed to use the Graphic 45 today, but I was like, I'm not ready to let it go. I need to keep it a little while longer because the paper hoarder in me is like, you can't get another Graphic 45 paper because it's not made anymore. And the thing about this paper, it's discontinued, but you can always get something that says sell away. The Graphic 45 paper, on the other hand, you can't just go and say, hey, I want to give me some Graphic 45 paper. You can't do that. At least not where I live. I know some people they have the hookup. So this is the work. This is the work of what it takes to make a album. But I've seen people pop out albums in record time, and this is a plain one. We're not going to put a whole bunch of pockets and stuff like that in here today. We may put like one or two, but nothing fancy schmancy. Because I just really wanted to come up and craft and do like a last day Not Crata video, but not call it Not Crata. Just a last day of, hey, let's hang out if you want to hang out with me while I make yet another album, another book or whatever. Because, I have other obligations going on. And I know other people do too. It was a little spur of the moment. Not planned, anything like that. So, but I do enjoy making these things so much. Like, maybe too much. But you see, I've just used up a whole bunch of envelope, card bases. And I like how they turn out at the end, like, they make me smile. Because, even if you are any kind of hobbyist, right? And I mean like a hand hobbyist, not like, you go out and hunt ducks or whatever. When you take a piece of wood and you whittle it and you saw it and you cut it and you stain it and you paint it, and you take that tree log from a tree log to, a chair or a table or a picture frame, I know I know people, it makes you feel good. Or if you take a panel of fabric and you sew something, it's just a great feeling to have when you see your completed work. Now, I'm not saying other hobbies are not as fulfilling or satisfying as, hand hobbies. Because, dancers, when you learn how to dance, sing, all that stuff, you can see your progression. But when you see a project that you worked on, it's just amazing. I have been considering doing a Bob Ross video. No, not a video. A project share, but I want to do it with the big roommate. So I want him to do it with me, because he's much more of an artist than I am. Like, he can draw, supposedly. He's drawn a few things, but he was, he took art. I took art too, but my art consisted of, was a semester of that, and then we had home ec, where I learned how to sew and cook, right? Because that's the norm for when I was growing up. You're gonna be in that kitchen. Oh my goodness. You're gonna mend those children's clothing. And all the guys, they took wood shop. Now, if you really wanted to fight it, I guess you could fight it and get into wood shop. But wood shop was dangerous. That's when people was losing fingers, or eye, or arm, or a tooth. Home ec, you just made cookies. So a lot of the boys went, probably for the girls, but also for the food. Like, I remember we made a few dishes, and we sewed, which I thought was really cool. I don't remember the whole setup. I think we had to bring our own fabric. So I made a Dalmatian. I don't even know if I still have it or not, or if it was in my mom's belongings in the garage or not. But you made the pillow was red with little white hearts, and then I hand stitched the dog. It was felt and it was on a little heart, and you put the little spots on there. It was such a great project to actually work on. But my teacher got frustrated with me because I was like, if it's easy, guaranteed I'm gonna mess it up. If it's something simple, I can guarantee you almost 100% of the time that she won't get it. If it's something complex, you gotta trek 500 miles, subtract 75, add 2, and multiply by 1, and add the 0. I'm for it. I'm the person for that project, right? But if it's something simple, give it to somebody else. Give it to the person you think will never get it, because I'm not gonna get it, and that is just horrible. Like I look back on some of my teenage years talking to my friends at that time, and they'd say something. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, of course you don't. And even still, like now, the big roommate would say something. I'm like, I don't get it. He's like, of course you don't. I'm like, I don't get it. And he's like, of course you don't. And I'm like, is that even fair? Like, is that fair? Because he don't get like in my opinion, the good jokes, the funny things, the things that you be like, oh, that's some funny stuff right there, and you start cackling. He don't get it either. So I don't know what they make us crazy. Nonetheless, he talks a lot of trash about me not getting jokes and not understanding stuff. And he'll come out and say, oh, of course you don't. And like I had told him about the paperwork I had to fill out today, he was like, yeah, that sounds like it would have been complicated. I'm like, yeah, especially if I don't have all the details, I don't have all the information. And because again, Texas doing their own thing, people pick and choose when they want to have the coronavirus affect them. So if you're going to work from home, it's affecting you. But if you get to go out and do something crazy like party, it's not affecting you, right? Not affecting you at all. We're almost done with the page layering, which I'm excited for. And again, we've done so far so good at not putting it on the crease, because you don't want it on the crease. You want it to open up. And when you buy an album from the store, you really don't get a lot of time to a lot of space to put kind of like heavy duty things. But when you're making your own album, the sky's the limit. Like, you can make them as thick or as thin or as wide as you want. And the next one I make, we're going to use 1/2 inch, because I want to put some layered pieces on a few of the pages. I already know what I'm going to be working on, but I had to go and buy some materials because I didn't have some of the things. So you'll see that soon, but it won't be a live stream because that's going to take some work. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do some premieres, and so far I haven't gotten any ideas, because I don't know if you want a premiere to be 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 1 hour. Like, how much time of yours are you willing to spend with me talking about paper? But if I make another album, I'll have most of the stuff already cut and made. So I'm just going to come back right here with this art glitter glue, because I feel like my piece is seeping off. Now, if you want to be different, you can put the spine of here versus on the bottom, right? So what I mean is, you can put this over this. You lay these two pieces down first, and then you put that on top, and you go from there. All right. So I'm just adding that glue on the corners, because I'm not going to put like any corner pieces, like some little metal pieces, because I didn't bring that. And I don't feel like I'm that advanced right now to do that. So there we are with this. And I am going to pull out these stickers that we have. I often wonder why Hobby Lobby clears this stuff out so frequently. And then I'm like, it's saving the crafters money. But I always look at the copyright days on a lot of the things that they get rid of, just so I can understand that mentality of the business mindset. Because at first they were selling this for $10, right? And then if you go on the days that Paper Studios half off, it's $5. And then they were selling it for $1.50. I don't like to use the alphabet stickers, so I will not be using them today. But I do want these pieces. She just ripped all that up, right? Destructive. Destructive. I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with that. So tomorrow is Thursday, right? I have some errands that I need to run, like early in the morning errands, depending on if it's raining or not, and if I get a good night's sleep tonight. We're gonna be on our errand running tomorrow. The little roommate, oh my goodness. I have, for June, I was like, I'm just gonna let him go to sleep whenever he wants and wake up whenever he wants. And it's been working out for me great, except for when it's nighttime, he don't want to go to sleep. So I have to stop that and start putting him to bed. And since July is right around, it's going by super fast. Like who told it to go by so fast? I don't know. All right, so let's see. All right, so now how I normally work a project is I'll just kind of flip through, and wherever I feel like something needs to go, I'll put it in. So I'm not stressing myself over it. I just kind of do whatever makes me happy, and however the flow of the book is. So that's what we're going to do today. But I do want to kind of I'm probably gonna put something right there as well, but we're gonna move these over for a quick little second. And I have some ephemera. These are these tiny little things. I got these from Tuesday morning. But we have some like Adventurer, some Hot Air, and we have these. And I think that'd be really cool to incorporate these little well pieces in. So I want to pull those out as well. Normally when I am crafting, I don't, unless I have a specific thing in mind, I kind of let the craft project lead me down the path and go from there. I really don't like to say, okay, I'm only going to use this, this, and this, because then I'll get kind of, I won't like it. Like the project won't come out great. It'll be kind of off. And no one really wants an off project. Like when you're working on your crafts and stuff like that, you don't want your projects to be off. You want them to be smooth, in my opinion. You want them to be smooth, like you've worked on them, and this is the outcome that you're going to have versus not the outcome. So I always just kind of keep that in mind when I'm working on stuff. You know, I think a lot of times artists like painters and people like that, they'll always say, oh, I don't want to force the art. And when they do force the art, they're like, you can tell that I was in a bad headspace. I wasn't in a good mindset when I was doing this project. And to the naked eye, you really can't tell that they were in a bad spot or a bad headspace until they tell you, oh yeah, I wasn't feeling this, or I wasn't there, or blah 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 blah. Because I've watched some people say that, I'm like, oh, that looked good to me. But artists are a different breed of people when you think about how they actually think and create stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to use Dear Beach. I think about you all the time. put that right here. Leave out, please. That's okay. Don't answer it. No, go back downstairs, please. Don't answer the door. All right, so I'm thinking that I want to put this not on that page. I think I'm gonna do the spine. Dear Beach, I think about you all the time. And I'm going to burnish this down. Not heavy, but enough, right? And then I am going to put this over here. I'm just going to look at this. I want to put this seahorse here to kind of tie all this in together. Although I don't like to put a whole bunch of dimensional stuff on the covers. I've learned my lesson because these stickers can sometimes fall off, and I don't reinforce them, which I should start doing. But if it's a foam tape or whatever, I try not to reinforce them, just because it, in my opinion, just makes it a little bit more messy. So we're gonna put, let's see, toes in the sand, another day in paradise. Let's do another day in paradise. We'll do that right here. Now, whenever I make the albums, I always try to think about where the person that's receiving this, if they use it as a real album, where they're going to put their pictures. So right here, you could put, you know, if you go on vacations, because people are doing that, you could put a picture right here to indicate that. So I try to keep those spots. Just to have the person put a small picture right there. This is why I do not like to live stream, because so many distractions. All right, so we're gonna put this seashell here. We're gonna try our best to use all of these stickers, this setting, the puffy ones, and go from there. Let's see, sand, sun, waves. I want to use this, but I feel like that's just too much leaf. Let's see, take me to the ocean. Let's do take me to the ocean right here. All right, and I'm going to leave this blank because I like that page so much. I'm biased, okay? I'm very biased. Now, we will put this here because it looks like it would fit. I'm going to put that in my center, right? All right, so we're just going to burnish this in. Now with the regular stickers, I am going to burnish them in just a little bit because they need it. They need to be burnished in. Other times they may not, but this time they do. We're going to try and use the envelope on this project. I'm going to venture out a little bit and try that. And so what you can normally do with your envelopes is you can either cut this lip off so it's not in the way. You can turn it this way. You can cover it up. You can put paper on there. You can fold it over. You don't even have to use an envelope. You can just use a plain sheet of paper. So we're going to take one of our other sheets that we cut. So you can cut this down and make it a pocket. And you all know I like pockets. So we're going to do that. And I am going to use some decorative scissors because we haven't seen them in a while. And I'm going to take a walk on the wild side and just cut. Because you know what? The heat has got to my brain today. Alrighty. So So you see, we have this little piece right here. And I'm going to take my regular scissors and just cut up right here. Okay. Now, I'm going to... The reason why I cut this piece up is because I didn't want to have to worry about gluing it down too much, and I'm okay with that. We'll just kind of center this up. And I'm going to take my ink, and I'm going to do a little tiny bit of distressing. Not a bunch, but just a little bit. I think crafters probably the only people that think about how much distressing we're going to use and how much we're not going to use. And you all know that I'm not a big distresser so much. I'm much more of a... I was making them, I was like, they're dirty. And you know, I didn't think about how rude that comment was until later on, because you don't want to tell somebody their work is dirty, because they're not dirty, they're just not clean, so to speak. They have, you know, they're inked up, the edges have been distressed or something like that. So, you know, I tend to bite my tongue now, I guess, when it comes to whether or not I'm going to say something like that. And I'm going to leave this, will it fit? Will it fit? I'm going to make some little tags probably. So I'm going to put something in there later on. Not right now though. And go on to the next page. So next page, we're going to use this little sticker right here. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to put beach vibes. I'm going to put them at the bottom. And it's crooked, but you know what? If I didn't make a project that was, if I made a project that was straight, you would have to call the cops because it would be an imposter. And I want to just take this anchor off of here. And put it, oh no, let's see. Put this anchor, let's do this anchor right here. All right, let's get back to this page. So now we need to find something else. We'll put it summer. I mean, why not? It's summer. I always tend to destroy my pages like that, my stickers. Right? Okay, so we're almost done. If you hadn't realized that, we're almost done. And I want to tell you all, thank you for hanging out with me, for watching. I really appreciate it. I know it was a last minute. I didn't tell anybody. People at work, you can't be really watching somebody stream while you're at work, especially if you're in the building. The good thing is I didn't drop any F-bombs, right? Which I normally never do, so we're good to go. We're going to use some sand in the toes because why not? I really like this one. I want to use the seashore. Let's do the seashore. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Is it Sally? I don't even know who it is. And this relax. I want to put this relax on here. I'm going to put this relax right here. I do think we're done. I do believe that we are done. I don't, at first, when I first started doing that, I used to put a lot of stuff on the back too. But again, just like this thing rubbing off, I don't tend to do that anymore. I tend to just leave it as is and go from there. But this has been super duper fun. Super duper fun. Let's see. All right. Crooked. Let's see. Can I get this one palm leaf somewhere? Don't look like I am going to be able to do that. Let's see. Can I get some of this? Oh, this will be good right here. It says beach surf. Another thing I try not to do is if I have a sticker right here on this side, I don't want to put a sticker on that side because it just doesn't flow properly. It doesn't make any sense to me to do that. And you see how we have this little crease right here? When I go to turn the book, it's going to um, bend that little piece. So I'm going to just gingerly lift it and adjust. Now, do you really need stickers for this? No, because you probably have, if you have nautical stamps, you probably have a lot of stuff right there. So yeah, again, all these are spots that people can put pictures. Now, do I want to put some, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put this leaf. No, she's not going to do that because it don't look good. All right, let's see. And I pulled these out for no reason because I'm not going to use those this round. I think that's it though. We made an album. Like that was the goal, to make a sea themed album. And I believe that we accomplished that mission. So let's do a quick flip through and then we will call it a day. I'm just going to put all my stuff over. So, I mean, you watched me make it, so you know what we did. I'm just going to do a quick flip through. Now, you know, in the future when I get fancy, I'll put some dangles and doodads and bobbles. But right now, I'm not doing that. All right, made a little pocket, which I like making pockets. I realize that. I enjoy that. Beach vibes. I really like this palms with the words. I really like that. It's summertime. I normally wouldn't put two sentiments on the same page, but I think they go well together. Yeah, I think that is that. That is all. So I want to say thank you all for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this. And until next time, happy crafting.